Today we are going to look at properties of a button. We have primary buttons, we have secondary buttons, we have tertiary buttons, we have ghosts, we have selected, we have over, we have disabled, we have pressed, we have a lot of buttons, but then we'll be looking at a few of them. Let's look at properties of a button proper. We have types of buttons, we have sizes of buttons, we have states of buttons. When we talk about the types of button, we are talking about primary color buttons, secondary buttons, tertiary buttons, ghost buttons. When we talk about sizes of a button, we talk about the small buttons, medium buttons, large buttons. I've created a video on how you can create these sizes of button. You can check it out in my YouTube channel. When we talk about the states of buttons, we have default, disabled, selected, over, press, and we have lots of buttons with different states. But then let's look at the types of button. We have primary buttons, we have secondary buttons, we have tertiary buttons, and ghost buttons. When you have a full button with a full color, when you have a button with a full color, let's say blue, green, yellow, purple, pink, that is primary color. I've created one. I'll just pick out of that an instance of that and paste it here. So this button has a full color blue. So when you have a button with a full color, all right, we talk about primary buttons. So if I should duplicate this, if I duplicate this and I change the color from this small color box and use this color picker to pick this color, I've created another primary button. You see that this color is a full color, right? That when it's on a product, it is noticeable. All right, let me create another one. So let me create another one. I'm going to change the color to this, and I've created another primary button. Let me create another one. I'm going to create another one. Okay, I change it from here and I have this. So I've successfully created 4 different primary buttons. So this is how to create buttons. This is how to create primary buttons. As simple as that. Now let's go to secondary buttons. Secondary buttons have their colors fainter than primary buttons. Just a shade, a lower shade and tint of the primary color, primary button. For instance, I'll just copy this, bring it here, then I will use my tint and shades color. If you want to learn how to create tints and shades for your colors, you can check my YouTube video. I have it there. So I'll just go there, go to my color here. I'll click on this and I'll pick a shade of this blue. I'll pick 100. Then I'll change the text color that is white. I'm going to change it to this blue color. Then I have created excuse me, secondary button. As simple as that. So I'm going to create secondary buttons for all this primary button. I'm just going to hold down my Alt key and drag this down here. Okay, so I'm going to click on this and I'm going to go to the opacity. I'm going to come here and change this to 8%. Then I'll change the white color text. This is it. I'm going to use this to pick this, and I've created the secondary button for this primary button. I'm going to come here, I'm going to change this to 8%. Then I'll change the white text color to that particular purple color. And I have this secondary button. I'm going to do same for this. I'm going to change it to 8%. Different designer has different ways of creating their secondary buttons. So, excuse me. So I have these secondary buttons created. So let's go to tertiary buttons. Tertiary buttons have the color of the primary button as an outline, as a stroke, as a stroke. So instead of having this blue color filling this button box, they have it as stroke so that the box will now have an empty color. So to do that, I use Shift X to reverse the full primary color to outline or stroke. So I'll just select it, then I'll click Shift X and I will change that full primary color of the primary button to stroke or outline. Then I'll change that white text color to the blue color. Then I'll do that for this. Control Shift X. Then I'll change the white to this. I'll do that. Shift X. And I'll change the white here to this. I'll do that for this. Shift X. Then I'll come to the white. I'll change the white text color to this. And I've successfully created tertiary buttons. So let's go to ghost buttons. When we talk about ghost buttons have only the text as a button. Only the text here as a button. So the quick way is we are going to switch off this stroke or outline. So here is the stroke. We are switching off that. We are switching off that. Switch off that, switch off that, or you delete it. So you see that the text, the box property is still existing, just that it is not showing. But then our text is showing, and that is our ghost button. So that is how to create your type sub button, that is primary, secondary, tertiary, and ghost. So let's go to sizes of button. I've created that already, and you can check my YouTube channel to see how I've created that in the past. I'm just going to copy it and I'm going to paste it here. Then this is small button, this is medium button, and this is large button. So you can see them: small, medium, and large. So let's go to states of button. Now your primary button is your default button. So for instance, this is a primary button. I'm going to copy that and paste it here, and that will be our default button. So this is our default button. For disabled buttons have gray color to show that they are not active. All right, disabled buttons have gray colors so that they will show that they are not active. So what I'm going to do is just to go to my gray color that I've saved on my system and change that to gray, change the text to gray. I'm going to change it to gray of, let's say, 500. So I have successfully created my disabled button. This is it. So for selected buttons are buttons that have their color fainter than that of the primary button. Alright, if you see that this is going to be deeper than this. So I'm going to use tint and shade for this. I'm going to change it here and use 500, and you can see that this is deeper than this. So your default buttons are always deeper in color than your selected buttons. Okay, then for over buttons, your over buttons are deeper than all of them all. So is your over buttons are deeper than all of them all. So I'm going to use tint and shade to do this and put it probably at 900. So you can see that this over button is deeper than this selected, deeper than default, and your default button is deeper in color, blue color, than your selected button. Okay, and that is how to create different states of buttons. Now what we are going to do is we will now combine all our buttons. If you notice, you see that all these buttons are primary buttons because they have full color. All right, they have full color. So this is primary button but default. This is disabled button but default. Well, this is primary button but disabled. This is primary button but selected. This is primary button but hover. Then we have um, other buttons, okay, that you can combine together. By the time we combine all of them together, we combine primary button that is default, primary button that is disabled, primary button that is selected, primary button that is hover, secondary button default, secondary disabled. By the time you bring all of them here, you will have created a button system. All right, so I'm going to give you as an assignment, go ahead, create all the types of buttons that have all the properties of buttons that I've demonstrated for you and combine them here. And by the time you are done, you'll have created a button system. So take your time, enjoy it, like this video, share it, subscribe to my channel so that you will see other videos and you will learn and grow your product design UI UX skill.